Picture this. The world has ended, humanity's cities burn above, and the dead walk the earth in endless hunger. Civilization has crumbled into static on old radios, and you, yes, you, have somehow found yourself not in a bunker, not in a cabin, not even on some remote island, but deep beneath the waves, sealed inside a cold metal tube. A submarine. The ocean hums outside like an ancient sleeping god, and somewhere up there, millions of zombies roam, moaning, decaying, devouring. Down here, there's silence. No screams. No running. No smell of rot. At least, not yet. On paper, this sounds like paradise compared to the chaos above. But let's not romanticize it just yet. Living underwater in the apocalypse might not be the salvation, it seems. It might just be trading one nightmare for another. Let's dive in, pun fully intended. First, the obvious advantage. Zombies can't swim. Not really. Sure, in some movies they do that eerie slow-motion underwater float, drifting like bloated corpses in a horror aquarium. But they don't exactly form deep-sea hunting parties or figure out how to open hatches. That means, in theory, a submarine is the ultimate isolation chamber. No undead neighbors knocking on your door. No sudden bites while you sleep. No need to barricade windows with overturned furniture. Down here, it's just you, your crew, if any survived, and a few thousand tons of water pressing from all sides. It's safe, physically safe. But mentally, that's another story. Humans are not designed for endless confinement. The steel corridors of a submarine aren't cozy. They're claustrophobic. Every room hums with the constant vibration of machinery. The air feels recycled because it literally is. You breathe what everyone else breathes, filtered and reused until it's stale enough to taste. The lights never change. There's no sunrise, no stars. Days blend together like watery soup, and time starts to lose meaning. After a few weeks, your mind starts playing tricks. You start thinking you hear tapping from outside the hull. You know it's just pressure or metal creaking, but your imagination insists it's something else. Something waiting. And that's when you remember the apocalypse didn't end just because you went underwater. Your food supply? Finite. Your oxygen tanks? Finite. Your sanity? Very finite. Submarines are not designed for long-term habitation without resupply. Unless you found a nuclear-powered one and have any idea how to run it, you'll be relying on diesel, batteries, and canned food. And if you're lucky, some freeze-dried rations that taste like salted cardboard. Once that's gone, you either resurface or starve. And when you resurface, well, you know who's waiting up there. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's play the optimist game for a second. Maybe you do have a nuclear sub. Maybe you're the last admiral of humanity, sitting at your command desk with 20 years of food, filtered water, and enough power to outlive the moon. Maybe you've figured out how to make hydroponic gardens in the missile bays, growing lettuce next to torpedoes. You've turned the sonar room into a meditation chamber and the engine room into a sauna. You are thriving. Congratulations, you've beaten the zombie apocalypse. Except not really, because even if you have power and food, you still need people. A submarine isn't meant for one person. It's a living ecosystem of human maintenance, and without constant upkeep, filters cleaned, pressure monitored, valve checked, it becomes a death trap. That means you need a crew, and that's when things get tricky. Let's say you've got 10 people with you. You trust them, at least you think you do. But imagine being trapped in a windowless metal can for months, hearing the same breathing, smelling the same sweat, sharing the same air. Tensions rise. Petty arguments about ration portions or who gets the top bunk turn into knife-edge disputes. Sleep deprivation sets in. Someone gets sick. Someone else gets paranoid. And then, inevitably, someone dies. Now here's the question that keeps you up at night. What if they turn? The beauty of submarine, its sealed isolation, instantly becomes your worst nightmare. You can't run. You can't hide. You can't throw the infected person out the door because there is no door. There's only steel, bolts, and water miles deep. The infection of one crew member becomes the infection of all. The smallest cough becomes a loaded gun. You start to wonder if your quietest crewmate is sweating too much or if they're just seasick. You sleep with one eye open, knife in hand, and you begin to miss the open chaos of the surface. Up there you could run. Down here, you can only sink. And then there's the maintenance problem. Submarines are incredibly complex. Without constant repairs, something will go wrong. A small leak, a pressure valve jam, a faulty air scrubber. Each one can mean death. You don't have spare parts because the apocalypse wasn't kind enough to give you an Amazon Prime account. You can't exactly dock at the nearest naval base. Those are crawling with the undead by now. So you improvise. You patch holes with duct tape. You reroute wires. You whisper prayers to the gods of engineering and hope the reactor doesn't overheat. But let's not forget the most human problem of all, loneliness. When you're deep under the sea, it's not just isolation, it's sensory deprivation. No sunlight, no wind, no birds, no real sounds except your own heartbeat and the hum of machinery. It's peaceful at first, even comforting. But after weeks or months, it becomes a slow suffocation of the soul. You begin to crave even the sight of another living creature, zombie or not. You start imagining voices on the radio, phantom pings on sonar. You think you see shapes moving in the dark outside the porthole, drifting closer. Are they fish? Are they corpses? Are they hallucinations? You don't know, and maybe it's better not to know. The ocean has its own terrors, after all. Giant squid, crushing pressure, the cold indifference of the abyss. You've escaped the apocalypse, yes, but you've also trapped yourself in a tomb that floats. The world above is full of death, and the world below is full of silence. You are caught between the two, neither living nor dead, just suspended in survival. Still, there's something oddly poetic about it, isn't there? The idea of humanity retreating beneath the waves, hiding in the ancient cradle of life while the surface rots. The submarine becomes a kind of ark, carrying the last remnants of civilization through the dark waters. Maybe you find old recordings and play them at night, music from before it all fell apart. Maybe you hold onto a photo of your family, taped to the wall beside blinking instruments. Maybe, in the hum of the engines, you start a dream again. But dreams don't fill oxygen tanks. Eventually, every submarine must resurface. Batteries drain. Supplies dwindle. The filters clog. You rise, slowly, through the dark like a ghost returning from the underworld. The light grows brighter. The water churns. You break the surface, and the world greets you with silence. The cities are gone. The seas are littered with wreckage. The coastlines are dotted with movement, distant and shambling. Zombies stare blankly at the ocean, unaware of your arrival. You open the hatch and breathe fresh air for the first time in months. It smells of salt, decay, and memory. You look around and realize surviving isn't the same as living. So, is surviving in a submarine during a zombie apocalypse good or bad? It's both and neither. It's a brilliant short-term strategy for escaping the undead and a catastrophic long-term one for staying human. It's survival by isolation, safety bought at the cost of sanity. You might live longer, but every day becomes a slow erosion of what makes you alive. A submarine keeps you breathing, but it doesn't keep you human. Because survival isn't just about avoiding death. It's about meaning, purpose, connection. And no matter how deep you dive, you can't escape the need for those things. Am I safe? Or am I just waiting? Maybe the real truth is this. A submarine isn't heaven or hell. It's purgatory, a drifting limbo where you're safe from the monsters, but not from yourself. The ocean outside presses like the weight of the world, and somewhere above, the waves carry echoes of what used to be life. You tell yourself you'll surface again one day. You'll find land. You'll start over. But for now, you sink a little deeper, listening to the heartbeat of the machine that keeps you alive. The submarine was never your salvation, only quieter,